What up, and welcome to Creeps of the Crypt, a podcast where we revisit old episodes of Tales from the Crypt. I'm your host, John, and along with me, as always...
Oh, there, Alan. What's up, guys?
That's right.
Glad to be back on this one.
Yes, and this would be the season finale of Creeps of the Crypt for Season 3. But we're not going to talk about any episode because we did that last time. This time, we're going to be talking about our top 5 favorite episodes of this season. And I would say we didn't talk about this prior, but we did after we recorded the last episode. We talked about, like I said, I already got them down. I wrote them down right away, and he was Alan was looking through them. I don't know if we actually talked about. I think I told you which ones were mine. I have 10 if I needed to make a top 10, but I think this time I'm only going to talk about 5. And I'm actually very surprised of my number 6s. I'll mention my number 6 because I'm kind of surprised. I'm like, what the hell? Why did I put that one there?
Yeah, I know we discussed it a little bit last week, just going over, some of our thoughts on the ones we would add on there. I didn't go as far as adding top 10 because I just don't think the season was that strong enough for one. And if I were to make a top 10, it was just kind of be based on, I guess, just my overall consensus of everything and just ranking them that way. But yeah, top 5. I got a good top 5 here. One that switched around a little bit prior to recording, and the more I thought about it, I think it deserves the number 5 spot, which we'll get to in a bit.
All right.
We'll get into it a little bit.
So I think I did too a little bit, but here we go. So let's stop wasting any more time and get right into it with number 5 for me. I'll go first because I always like to talk a lot. Number 5 is Split Second, the lumberjack episode where this handsome guy comes along, this young guy comes along to work at this, I don't know what they're lumberjacks. That's what they do. They chop wood. And he comes looking for a job, and he notices that the foreman or the owner of this ranch or whatever has a very sexy wife, and he's very attracted to her, and she's attracted to him. And I think she's more attracted to him because he's like not, well, it's different. I think it's kind of elevates it because first off, I think she's hot. The actress that, I forgot her name.
Is it Michelle Johnson?
Yes. She's hot.
That's her name.
I think she's hot. And so I think she elevates the show for me a little bit. Also, Brian James, right? That's his name, Brian James. So I think I liked him more because of Brian James playing Mr. Dixon. I think he's a good actor. I didn't even know he was doing an Australian accent in Tango and Cash. I forgot. I know he was in Tango and Cash, and I remember him being like one of the main villains. Oh, yeah. But when I had to edit the podcast, I was watching Tango and Cash, and he's got an Australian accent. Well, I think he's supposed to be English accent, but it kind of sounds like Australian. Oh, mate, what you like that? Look at that. I don't know. It was stupid. I can't do any crocodile.
He had like some kind of prosthetics on him in that movie, if I remember right. Was he doing
not
like
that
white
one.
Chin? A different guy, huh?
Yeah. No, in that one he doesn't have any prosthetics. But yeah, Ted is this young guy who needs to get a job. And he's good at chopping wood, but with an axe, not with a chainsaw. And he got this jealous husband. And I think I've been in situations like this on both different sides of the spectrum when I was younger. So, oh yeah, I remember I told a story once when I was, well, thank God nothing happened. But I went to a bar, and me and this guy ordered a White Russian. So I like that drink. At one point, I liked it a lot. So I went to the bar, ordered White Russian, and this was for a birthday of a friend of mine. Actually, it was a nice little restaurant or whatever. So after we ate, then I went to the bar to get drinks, and then it's not like a bar, but it's a bar at the restaurant. So I ordered that, and the guy put it on the table, and I went to reach for it, and this girl went to reach for it at the same time. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought this was mine. No, and then, we started laughing, we started talking, and one thing led to another. I bought a few more drinks. I go back to her place, and she lived on the third floor. And there's this one that's like brownstones, where there's no fire escape in the front in New York City of her windows. And she lived I don't know if that was in the back, but she lived in the front. So we go up, and it's hot and heavy. We're getting into it, taking off her top, and I did what we had to do. We were doing it, and then all of a sudden, started hearing the buzzer for her apartment. Meh, 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 meh. And I'm like, what the fuck? She's like, oh my God. So she turns around. She goes, give me a second. Let me see who it is. Right. So I'm like, okay. So I'm just chilling. She goes and she checks. She goes, hello. And then you hear her ex-boyfriend go, open the fucking door. And she goes, what? What are you doing here? And he goes, open the fucking door. And then she goes, oh my God, it's my boyfriend. Well, she said boyfriend, but I'm assuming it was her ex-boyfriend, but I don't know. So I'm giving her like leeway saying ex-boyfriend. So I was like, oh shit.
Janice Rothstein over there?
Answer me! I'm gonna tell everyone who walks in this building that in 2R Rossi, you are nothing but a whore!
No, so then I ran to the front window. I look out the window and there's no fire escape. And I'm on the third floor. And I'm like, oh, I'm fucked because I can't get out. And then she goes, get under the bed. And I look and there's no room. And then I'm like, I can't get under the bed. So then she's like, go to the closet full of clothes, right? There's no way. So I'm like, oh shit. She's like, all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom on the door. He got in somehow. And I was like, oh my God, I'm fucked. So I took my shirt and I was like, I put it like the guy from Scary Movie. I took my shirt, I put it like the bottom over the collar. I lifted up my pants a little. I crossed I said, open the door. And she goes, what? She's gonna fucking kill you. I said, open the door. And he opened the door. She opens the door. She goes, okay. And I just sat down. I put my legs crossed. I put my hands over my knee. And then he opens the door. He goes, what the fuck took you so long to open the door? You got somebody in here? And she goes, no, what are you talking about? It's just my friend, right? And then he goes, who the fuck is that? And I went, honey, you don't come in here talking to me like that. And I said, she's like, what? You got a fucking, and he said, the derogatory word used for men of that ilk. Yeah. And then she goes, this is my friend. We went out for drinks. He just stopped by to use the bathroom. Right? So she just stopped by to use the bathroom. And I went, oh, honey, I think you two need to handle your business because it seems like there's some unresolved issues here. Okay? I'm going to go. I'll talk to you later, boo. Call me. And I said, I like you. You're feisty. And I walked out and I was like, because I wasn't going to fight somebody. First of all, this guy was built. He was taller than me. He was built. I was drunk, right? And I'm just like a puddle of mush when I'm drunk. And yeah, I wasn't gonna fight over somebody else's girl, and I didn't want to get involved in any of this. So I was just like, I'm out later. So I got out. As soon as I ran as fast as I could. I got a taxi and I went home. But yeah, no, that's why I kind of like this episode a little bit, being like, I've been on that story. End.
Glad your story turned out well compared to that ending.
Yes.
For Mr. Dixon.
I didn't get slaughtered, but I've told that story before. When I used to have a podcast years ago, I told it. Probably when it happened. I probably told it like right when it happened.
Oh wow.
I remember it was a movie podcast. I talked about it, but I deleted that from the internet, so you'll never find it. But it's the exact same story because it happened, and I told it a little better last time because. But yeah. Ugh.
Nah, I got the gist of it.
So I've been on that end as being seeing jealous boyfriends, so I know how that goes. And also being a jealous boyfriend at times. So yeah, I get it. But she's a hoe, and I don't know. I just like everything about this. I think the director did a good job in this episode, and it's one of the episodes that I like, even though it's a ridiculous ending. I always think the ending is stupid, but I like this episode.
That's what did it
for me. Yeah. So what about you?
Yeah, oddly enough, number 5, I initially put Split Second on there as well when I first was putting this together. Then I thought about it some more. It's like, you know what? I rewatched this other one for a little bit. Number 5 for me is Dead Weight. I put it up there. I reached just the cusp of that one.
I put that as my top 10. It's number 10, which I think I would replace it with my number 6 because I'll talk about my number 6 later. But yeah, so go ahead, talk about Dead Weight. Why do you like it now more than I know why. I also said it too after watching the whole season. I'm like, I think that was actually better than we gave it credit for. But
That was my reason. Yeah, I gave it some time to marinate. It was like it's a little bit better than we initially maybe gave it credit for. And I mean, this compared. I mean, this was 7 episodes later, so we had a little bit more perspective after that one to kind of, I guess, appreciate what it was doing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's definitely. I'd have to be fair about it. It was a solid top 5. When James Remar's in the episode, he plays like this like red-haired thug. That the red hair will come into place as we talked about, and he just kind of offers his services to work for this other guy, John Rhys Davies from Indiana Jones fame. I know him from there.
Lord of the
Playing
Rings.
Ball over here. Yeah.
And Sliders.
Yeah. All the other ones there. And he's kind of a plantation owner, and there's like this civil war going on there. I just like just like that story and some of the kills in that one. And then he hooks up with like the mistress of Duval's, Catherine, I think her name was.
Yeah, played by Vanity.
The artist Vanity. I didn't know too much about.
She's very beautiful. She was in, like I talked about it before. She was in The Last Dragon. It was a great film. Well, it was a cult classic, but it was good. Bruce Leroy. It was a stupid movie, but it's fun. You should watch it if you've never seen it.
Yeah, I have to get that one a shot. So she's kind of like they kind of end up working together to steal his Black Pearl that he has, Duval's Black Pearl, along with her and Red. And we had some good laughs on that one scene where they had the plantation employees over there coming up to him, and then just talking like they just got out of like some other like slave country or something. It's just very stereotypical accent they had going on there.
I think
it was just a. How did it go again? It was like the sinking or something.
No, I think that's different. You're confusing the two.
Oh damn it!
You're thinking about Dead Right with
Dead
not
Right
Dead
and
Right,
Dead Weight,
not Dead Right. The other one with the
And the food, it's so spicy and so ethnic.
That's the one with the.
Yeah.
This one had the military come, and then he hid the pearl inside his stomach or something, and when he opened, he had a disease, John Rhys Davies, and when he opened, it was maggots inside.
Yeah.
So, look, the story in general, it wasn't that great. Rewatching it, and I did say that James Remar was kind of horrible in it. I think in the beginning he was, but later on, I said his acting picked up. Whoopi Goldberg was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
She's just Whoopi Goldberg. She was awful in it. John Rhys Davies was okay. His scenes with James Remar worked, and Vanity was sexy, and it was a fun episode. At the end of the day, when you look at the entire season, this is one of the fun ones that you could show somebody. It has a funny twist at the end, but they didn't make the hair like as important as it was kind of in the comic. I believe the comic, it was mentioned like the hair was like, I believe, more significant, but the comic was more racist than than this episode was. But yeah.
A bit, yeah.
Yeah. But I like this episode too, actually. I have it on my top 10, so I agree with you on that.
Well, yeah, compared to the later ones, yeah, this one's not as bad. It holds up well enough for it to be, in my top 5. Not my favorite one, but I think it just kind of got there between that and Split Second. Would have been neck and neck there on my number 5.
By the way, I was looking at the ratings for this season for episodes, and it appears somehow, maybe people are listening and they're revisiting this, but they're listening to the podcast. They're revisiting these episodes on IMDb. The Reluctant Vampire dropped down a couple points. I think it was like 7.2 or something before. Now it says 7. So maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe it was 7.1. I believe it was higher rated because it was higher rated than my number 4, which is Ease'll Kill You with Tim Roth. I put that as my number 4.
Hey.
I really like this episode. I think the twist ending is fantastic. It's amazing. It's what Tales from the Crypt is all about. I think it could have. You could remake this today. It's a great story, and it was done very well. It's about an artist who is struggling with prior being a alcoholic, and he goes to AA meetings, but the problem is that when he was an alcoholic, he was a better painter. So he's having struggle painting. It's kind of like writer's block. When if you're a writer and you have writer's block, you're stuck and you're stuck forever. And he has that problem where he's kind of stuck. He meets this girl in his AA meeting, and she's kind of like giving him a little bit of inspiration. He's trying, but she's also trying to connect with him because she really finds him attractive. And she knows he's dark and mysterious, and that's always what girls find attractive, is dark and mysterious or the bad boy. And he's got almost all of them together. So he ends up one night painting after she leaves, and his neighbor is playing loud music. He gets pissed off, goes over to yell at his neighbor. His neighbor goes inside, raises the volume, puts it even louder. And as he's screaming at his neighbor, a little vase, a potter, like a little plant that he has on the fire escape, he kicks over by accident, and it crashes on the neighbor that's below him on his head. And the neighbor falls over his fire escape and dies. And he looks at this, and that kind of gives him some sort of inspiration. And from here on now, he gets inspiration and motivation and paints great things after he murders people. And sometimes he'll use their blood in his artwork, take pictures of them, and that inspires them. That comic also was a very good comic. Different, but very good. And and the ending is great. This is his girl that likes him finds out. She runs away. Something happens, and it's just a great episode with the ending that he needed the money because she didn't have insurance. So he goes to sell his painting to this morbid art collector, and he kills somebody. This time, because actually every time, I thought originally when I rewatched it, I thought, well, the first killing was an accident. I think the second killing was an accident. No, he pushed his landlord down the stairs. And the third killing was deliberate too. So, but he's trying to tell her, I'm not that person anymore. But she runs out because she's scared for her life. And she gets hit by a car. She needs brain surgery. Like I said, he sells the painting. It was magnificent, I believe. And, well, actually it was on a cardboard or something, right? Like he took a piece of cardboard and just painted with like, I don't know. And,
yeah, he picked at the guy and just rub his blood on the
guy
blood and carcass on like some cardboard.
Yeah, it was so whack. The art collector gave him like $1 million or $100,000, something ridiculous. And he goes to give it to the doctor, and you discover, dun dun dun, he killed the doctor that was going to give the surgery that they can't do it. And then they added a cool part at the end where the police are there, and they're like, "Here's the brush you used, fucker. You left the brush. Like, we gotta talk to you." So I like this episode. I think it's a great Tales from the Crypt episode, and that's why it's my number 4.
That's a good one. Yeah, it's gonna show up in a little bit, so I'll mention it, and then we pretty much help break it down. I like that one. I think it was really, that one was Easel Kill You was on my number 3. So I had that on my number 3.
All right. Well,
thinking about it more, I like those. I like those aspects of like what the comic was about, just all these morbid paintings, and then eventually him winding out to ended up having some feelings with this girl that got hit by that car.
Yeah, that's the one thing
just like the
didn't work.
payoff near the end.
That's the one thing that didn't work very well, is like all of a sudden he has feelings for her. He's not that person. The comic, it works better because it's long, like he falls in love with her and everything. That's the only thing. And some of the art could have been done better, looking like more. There could have been more eerie, but it's a good episode. I think it's a very good episode. It's one of the best of the season, and you agree too. So, but what is your number 4?
Yeah, number 4 could have gone either way between this one and Easel Kill You, but I gotta give it its fair shake. I liked Abracadabra.
Oh wow, that's number 4 for you, huh?
Number 4, yeah.
Wow.
I had to think about it some more, and I mean, this feels like something you'd get out of a Tales from the Crypt season, and it's rewatchable enough for me to enjoy it, to be up on this spot here, more than the other ones we've discussed as often as we shitted on with Reluctant Vampire. But this one, at least, it's decent enough. I like the story of like the 2 brothers that were medical students, and then one of them, what was it, Carl, I think his name was, and that was played by Tony Goldwyn, and his brother Martin Bo Bridges, Are they? I don't know. They're not. No, it's not related to
No.
Jeff Bridges. I
Yes,
don't
he
know why
is.
I mixed them up, but
He is
he?
related to Jeff. That's his brother.
Okay, there
Yeah.
you go. BB and JB.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played. Carl plays a prank on him, on Martin, and then he gives him kind of like paralysis on one of his hands, so he's kind of fucked
Oh.
up from that prank. And then fast forwards up to present day where I think Carl's like more of a successful surgeon now, right? And then Martin's like kind of limited to just doing like these random ass medical research jobs, I guess.
Mhm.
Just medical research jobs, pretty much. But I think it was vice versa. He was kind of aspiring to be
Yeah.
one of the top surgeons, but the whole prank he played on him just fucked him up. So I like that story aspect, and then leading up to kind of the later things that happen where Martin gets his revenge by injecting Carl with the serum that kind of stops his heart or just makes his brain stay alive, or his consciousness be aware of what they're doing, and just pranking him in reverse. And it just looked like he was getting cut up and trapping him in his own body while they were cutting him up and all that. So that was a cool little reveal at the end where he got the prank on him too.
Yeah.
And then he ends up getting a heart attack from that fucking prank. So something about I dug it. The story was pretty solid for this one.
Yeah.
I think everyone did a pretty solid job for what the story was about.
I'm just surprised it's so low because mine is. We'll talk about it later again. Which is going to come up again this episode. Because for me it was much higher, but I don't know why it was higher, in my opinion. And I think I know what your number one is. So here we go with what is your number 3 then? Oh no, your number 3 is Ease Will Kill You, right?
Yeah, I brought it up. Ease Will Kill You
Yeah.
was my number 3.
Yeah, because that's good. But so my number 3, since we're all over now, my number 3 is The Trap, with Michael J. Fox directed episode, pretty great. Also with Bruce, is his name Bruce McGee? Bruce McGill. I know him from so many things. He's a great actor. Lou Paloma. He's fantastic. This whole episode is great. It's such a funny, comical episode, but in the same way, it's great when you think about it, because when I originally watched it, when I was a kid, I just thought it was a funny episode, right? It was a funny episode. And I just liked Michael J. Fox was in it because I loved Michael J. Fox growing up. I had every VHS tape, every movie he was in as a kid. He was my favorite actor. Even Casualties of War, and that was a dark ass movie that a 5-year-old shouldn't be watching. And I loved Michael J. Fox. I really did. I loved him a lot. So Terry Carr, rest in peace. She just passed away recently. She plays Lou Paloma's wife in the. She just died, so God bless. And also Bruno Kirby, who's Billy Paloma, Lou's brother. He passed away a while ago too. So it's like 2 people that are no longer with us that is part of this episode. It's kind of sad. Knock on wood for Bruce McGill. God bless. And but yes, it tells the story of this dirtbag piece of shit, scumbag Lou Paloma that doesn't like to work, always gets fired, cheats on his wife, does everything. They can't pay their bills. The bill collectors are looking for them, and Lou's bright idea is to kill himself because he has life insurance, pretend he's dead, fake his death, and have his brother do it because his brother is pathologist or coroner. So they set it up and they do it, and that's the whole gimmick, that they're gonna do it, and his wife's gonna fly with him to Rio afterwards, and they'll be together, and they spend the money after that she collects it. And during the process, Bruno Kirby, or Lou's brother, Billy, falls in love with Lou's wife. And so they end up pulling the scam on him and telling Lou to get surgery. And this is why I like this episode, because they convince him that it's a better idea for him to go first. This way, it's not suspicious that she collects the insurance money and then flies away. Then the cops are going to look into it because they're looking for a killer too. And he goes, okay, so he flies down, but he has to get plastic surgery when he gets down there. I want to read this comic because this is one of the comics I didn't read. This and Abracadabra. I want to read these 2 comics. But anyway, so he goes and he's waiting and calling, and they're never answering the phone. And then finally he comes back home after like months of being away, and he sees his wife looks beautiful now. She doesn't look like, Al Bundy's wife, Peggy Bundy, on Married with Children. Now she looks like a wife, and the house is beautiful inside. It's all painted white. It's got new upgrades. They got workout equipment in there. They got a nice dining room table. They got nice furniture. And he's like, "What the shit? Like, what's going on here?" And then they're pretending like they don't know who he is. And then they call the cops, because now Billy's tough too, because Billy was a weakling before. But now when they sent him away, he's got his woman and he's got his money. He got his balls. All I got in this world are my balls and my word. And I don't break them for no one. So he puts his brother in a headlock. They call the cops. The cops come, and the cop is the same cop that came when they pretended Lou was dead to begin with. And they arrest him. They arrest Lou because they're like, "That's not my brother. That's not my ex-husband, blah, 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 blah." Then there's a big court thing because now they're saying that Lou is the guy who killed Lou, because Lou doesn't look like Lou. No one recognizes Lou, but the DNA from one of the things they used on Lou, because the DNA didn't match. It's a long story. You got to watch the episode. It's a great episode. So Lou ends up getting screwed at the end of it all, and it's fantastic. That it's a great episode. I understand why. I think this is your number one, probably, right? Oh no, I know you're number one. I know you're number one.
It's up there.
Yeah, but
it's up there.
I know you're number one already. Now I know you're number one. So anyway, yeah. So The Trap is my number 3. What's your number 3?
Number 2 for me is
3.
Your number 3. Wait. No, I already told you the number 3 was Easel Kill Ya for me.
Oh, okay, yeah. So what's your number
That was
2
the
then?
one. Number 2 is your number 3, The Trap. That one was a good one too. Like the points you mentioned and just us talking about it before. I remember looking back on it pretty positively, especially. Yeah, I mean Bruce Miguel was really amazing in this
Fucking
episode.
great.
He's just you love to hate him, and he's been great in other stuff. And
But
the
he's
fact
really
that it was-
great in this. He's like he sells the whole
he
dirtbag
eats
thing.
it up.
Yeah, he eats up the
He
scenery.
does a good job.
Yeah.
He does a great job at that, and the fact that the story was solid and just everything came together pretty fluidly. It's one of the ones you enjoy, don't even think about the running time on. And the fact that Michael J. Fox directed this one was a cool one of the cool special guest director episodes is always good to see. And the fact that him and James Tolkien from Back to the Future were both playing characters in this episode too. So put it up on the top for me. This was a good one to rewatch. That's my number 2 right there, The Trap.
Okay, so now we're in a predicament here because my number 2 is your number 1, and my number 1 was your number 3 or 4. Your number 4, I think, or 5.
Okay.
I don't know. You had it real low.
4.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what?
It's solid, but that's not my
That's my favorite. So
top
this is
one.
what we're gonna do. My favorite. We're gonna just say my number 1 right now is Abracadaver. I think it's a great fucking thing. He already gave the whole synopsis. I know why I like it, or the whole why he liked it. I like it mainly because the idea, the concept before it was done, was that he thinks he is like the whole idea of doing research because your body, like, or your soul or your brain is still functioning even after you die. Maybe it could be your brain, or maybe it could be your soul. It's been done in movies after, like Awake does something like that, but that's surgery. So when they put you to sleep, like you're still awake, and sometimes some people it happens to, but in this like that's the research. He thinks the brain, he can make the brain, you live after you die, your brain can continue to function for however long he says. And so I just love that part of it, that the idea of him and then it being revealed at the end that it's a gag, and but the whole time you're like, oh my god, that's such a cool idea, the concept of doing the surgery and all these things, like, oh my god, right? But I love the ending. The ending is like, you're wrong. Feeling's not the first thing that goes. It's the last, and then they're opening him up and he's screaming, ah! that was fantastic. But great episode. That's why Abracadabra is my favorite, because I like morbid shit and dead things. So yeah, that's my number one. My number two would be your number one, right? So your number two.
You tell me.
What was your number two?
Number 2 is The Trap.
The Trap. Okay, so my number two is your number one, which is Top Billing.
Ah, you got me.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna be your number one. So you go ahead and you tell why it's your number one.
For me, yeah, I've always been a fan of John Lovett, so it was cool to see him show up on an episode of Tales from the Crypt, and you know, fortunately enough, we had him give us his backstory on, you know, what led him to get to the actual you know, playing this part of Barry and a struggling actor. He's just kind of like, yeah, interesting enough because, you know, he's also an actor in his own right, of course. So, but I wouldn't say he's been struggling. He's had some pretty good hits under his belt. He's had a good career for sure.
The Real Lovitz, yeah. The Real Lovitz.
Yeah, Lovitz. Yeah, I remember going as far back as, you know, when I was a kid. I didn't get it until I was older, but, you know, watching the critics, I was like, oh, I definitely appreciate it more when you watch it. When you're a bit older and you just kind of see how, you know, films are these days or how the trends were back then. So
it's funny.
That one was my introduction to him.
What's funny with Lovitz is like, there are people that don't into movies or anything, and they go, oh, I know him, I love him. Like they know John Lovitz and they love John Lovitz. I do like the fact that he answered the question. I was like, what was the character? Did you do the role because it was kind of like inspired from your character on SNL? And he goes, no. Like, I just took it like I acted in it like I would, because he's not the same character. But you know, whatever. But it's how he felt like a struggling actor when he was struggling to become an actor or do stand up. And I was like, oh, but I know why the episode is great, because it's that ending is also great too. Actually, that's like one of the best endings, because that comes out of nowhere. You know, but you're not expecting this at all. You just think it's one of this bizarre, like it's just this eccentric fucking play that's being done by this this is just this play being done by this eccentric fucking director, and that they're just weirdos play people, and he's dying to get this role. He'll do anything for a role. He needs this role, and he ends up doing anything to get this role. And then you find out the twist, which it is a very good episode. It's one of it's my number two. It's your number one. It is one of the best episodes of the season.
For sure, yeah. That's why I kind of put it. That's why I felt like it had to be at least in the top 5. And yeah, for my personal opinion, yeah, I think it's a good number one. This one of the ones I will rewatch from the season. So that's what I liked about it. It's just the story and the build up of it and that twist ending. Because yeah, I just didn't see it coming, and then you rewatch it again. It's like, oh, okay, it makes a bit more sense now, given everything that was presented to you, especially with him pulling some note off of the job board or some, and then going to this like backwards alley just to get in from the back and try to get into the production there. So it was like that was a good aspect to see when you rewatch it, and then just him trying to get that role of Yorick for Hamlet, and then the twist ending being, you know, this whole thing was run by like a bunch of
psychos, folks
from insane asylum.
That's why the address didn't make sense either, because it says whatever and a half, and I'm like, a half, because it's it's like the back room they're using of the fucking insane asylum or prison or whatever the fuck. That as a kid, that was awesome too. Like, he kills him. He goes, no, the line where he goes, what do you mean? Like, he's like, who am I playing then? You're playing Yorick, and he goes, Yorick, but he's dead. He's dead. He's been dead for whatever long, and he goes, we know. Like, he's like, oh shit, these people are crazy. That's why he wanted your skull. And then he's like, oh my god. And he could have just
that cool shot of like his skin on the outside getting chewed up by the dog as the cops show up, and then they're holding his skull. So that's the reference. If you guys remember Hamlet, it's cool.
Yeah, it's a great episode. I thought it was directed by Tom Holland, who directed Child's Play and Fright Night. But it's not. It's Todd Holland, who I don't know what he's directed, but but it's a good episode. He did a good job. He's done a lot of TV stuff. This guy Todd Holland, but I don't think he
directed the Wizard, right? I think that was him.
Yes, The Wizard, and Malcolm in the Middle episode. So, but really nothing like he should have gotten something good, you know, like because this episode's really good. It works really well. Yes, it's comedy, but you know, he's still working. God bless, you know. But all in all, it is one of the best episodes of the season, highest rated on IMDb. And I just realized I never rated it. I just like
it a lot. It's got a good amount of moments in it. Even in the beginning, when you think he's, you know, choking out somebody, and then they break character when he was auditioning for some role. But yeah, it's funny how he did that, and then he turned into the murderer near the end when he was competing with his rival for a role in Hamlet. I think it wasn't until later they knew what the hell the role was.
Yeah.
Just solid. I like that one. That's a good one from this season.
Yeah. Well, that's our list of our top 5s of this season. I would say what my other 5 are was 6 to 10. I'm gonna switch number 6 and 10 because I'm looking at them like no. So although I feel like I liked 6 more, I don't know why. Maybe because I just recently saw it. Like what originally was my 6 was Spoiled. I had that as number 6 of this season. I don't know. I think I liked it more because I want to switch it with Dead Weight because I have Dead Weight at number 10. But I'm like, nah, I don't know. I think I enjoy Spoiled more. What?
It's Abel with the cable, huh?
I like her. I don't know. I think of her differently than when she looks like on TV because when I was editing the podcast, I was looking at her. I'm like, she's not that hot. Why do I think she's so hot? I think it's just something about her. Something about her I'm attracted to. So that elevates it. And then even the stupid music that I dislike, it works. I know what they're trying to do, and it kind of does work. So I think I'm more entertained by that episode than I am Dead Weight. So Dead Weight's just like, it's okay. It's a good episode, but I'm just like, So yeah, I'd have Spoiled at 6. 7 is Morning Mess. I think honestly, if they would have gotten the actor from Abracadabra to play the guy in Morning Mess, the reporter, instead of getting the guy from Wings to be the lead, I think that would have been a better choice for some reason. I just don't like that guy didn't have much to do. And he wasn't really that much of an asshole, although they were trying to make him an asshole.
That's the downside.
Yeah. Like, you know, he locks the other guy in the other reporter in the porta potty. And then he's trying to they're trying to make him, and he kicks the girl out, but he's not more disrespectful. He's not crude. He's not like, he should be like a Columbo looking like slob more than, you know, like something. So I don't know. He did the best he could do with what he was given, but all in all, then the ending is good, but it's just like, There's an episode coming up, next episode, where we talk about something that is similar to this in a sense, but works much, much better. But anyway, number 8 is Carry On Death. I think that is fucking looking at all these episodes. That's a phenomenal episode now when I think about it with the dude from Twin Peaks, Kyle MacLachlan. I mean, the comic was better too than that episode. And then Yellow is number 9 because I like what they were doing, and they did a lot more, you know, and they symbolism too. I forgot I didn't mention it when he stands up, the father, Calthrop or Carthrop, whatever the fuck. When he stands up in the church after they court-martial him, they have the big Jesus behind him on the crucifix. And it's like Jesus was sacrificed. Well, I think that's what they're trying to imply. Like God sacrificed his son, you know, or Jesus took that's whatever, you know, Jesus sacrificed himself to open heaven, right? for people. They forgive them for they not know what they do. Jesus asked God, right? As he let himself die on the crucifix, and at the same sense, then God could stop it, right? God could have stopped this from happening to Jesus, but he doesn't. And in this episode, it's the same. It's similar. That's why he's standing. The colonel, the major, whatever the fuck, Kirk Douglas is standing there behind the Jesus thing because he is sacrificing his son too, to be killed because of whatever.
There's some layers.
Yeah.
There,
So
sure.
I was like, oh, I could have brought that up. I didn't. That was a cool shot, and that's definitely what Zemeckis was trying to say. You know, his son's going to be sacrificed for whatever reason that Calthrop or is thinking that just because he's a coward, he can't let everyone know he was a coward. So yeah, and then Deadweight is number 10. So I'll keep my mind the way it was. I do like Spoiled more, and Morning Mess. The ending is better than the rest of these episodes.
Yeah, I filled in some extra here for the top 10. So I'll get to those two. What did I put at? Well, yeah, number 6 I put Split Second. Yeah, that one's solid right there for me. And 7 Spoiled, and 8 Morning Mess, and 9 Yellow. I think I put Yellow a little bit higher at the bottom there than Carry On Death. I put Deadline over Carry On Death because, even though like the way they did it wasn't the best, I'd rather watch that one because it reminds me of the comic at least. Like I thought the comic was a bit better
Deadline is the worst piece of shit. That's the.
I'd rather watch that than the Reluctant Vampire.
No, I'd rather watch the Reluctant Vampire over. I gotta re-rate Deadline. I have Deadline a little higher than the Reluctant Vampire. I'm gonna rate Deadline is the worst. I think Reluctant Vampire. Actually, I wouldn't watch either of those. I don't know why that's so high rated, but anyway. So that's our. No, you didn't say number 10. What's your number 10?
Number 10. What did I say? Oh, I put Deadline as my number 10.
Deadline.
That's what I put in there.
That's terrible. I would say the worst episodes of this season for me, it would be the Reluctant Vampire is number 1. That's the worst episode of the entire.
Undertaking Pallor is
that's number 2.
That's another one.
Yeah, that's number 2.
Yeah.
Deadline would be 3, and the 4th, because I think there's only 14 episodes, so the fourth episode would be Love to Death. No, for you that.
Oh, I Love to Death.
Love to Death for me. That one is just useless. It's not bad. It's just it was done already the last season, so why do it again? But then again,
it's solid if it's like the first time you've seen this show.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
It could be good for someone that's seen it the first time, but if you've seen everything prior, then yeah, it may be a bit redundant.
But though I will say also, there's an episode here, Dead Weight. There's an episode next season that's similar to Dead Weight, but it's better in my opinion. It's a little different. Well, it's coming up anyway. Yeah, so that's our review of the entire season. Pretty much, we gave you our top 10 episodes of Tales from the Crypt season 3 and the worst ones of the 4 because there's only 14 episodes this season. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, we will be back with season 4, episode 1. I don't know what that episode is titled. Oh, None But the Lonely Heart. So we will be back with that one. Also, a side note, from now on, starting with the next episode. So this episode will be aired. Let's see, because this one. This episode will be aired on November 25th. Okay, fine. 543 direction. Okay, so the next episode of our podcast, where we're going to be talking about season 4, episode 1, titled "None But the Lonely Heart," that it will be aired in December, and that will be the only episode in December, because we're starting to only do one episode a month starting December, because we both have things we have to do and it gets kind of hectic. So then we're going to start moving it from a bi-weekly podcast to just a monthly podcast. I hope that doesn't bother anybody out there, but we just want to let you know, because if you're wondering, hey, what happened? Where's the podcast? It's not up anymore. Well, it will be up monthly. It's a monthly podcast now, where we also try to stretch this podcast out because we're already on season 4, and it only got what, 7 seasons. So we got to try to make it do with what we have. But we still got the movies we got to talk about. I'm going to try to get Dennis Miller on so he could talk to me with his proverbial he's such a he's got a vocabulary I don't even know. I know whenever I watch him do stand up, or whenever he used to go on Bill O'Reilly or something and he would talk, he'd always say some word that I've never heard before in my life, and I'd be like, what the hell? Well, he's a funny guy.
Funny how?
No, he's funny. He was on SNL, and he got a lot of these people their gigs. I think he got Sandler his gig, and Kevin Nealon. He got them all parts on SNL, like a lot of them. So he was a good guy. Yeah, but he did Bordello of Blood, which I don't want to talk about now. But we're gonna try to get him on now. He would never come on here to talk about that garbage movie.
Yeah, it's
Corey Feldman
Yeah.
would. We should get Corey Feldman on the podcast to talk
yeah.
about that. Yeah, we'll get him on. Wouldn't that be nice? Come on, guys. Do you want us to get Corey Feldman on
we
to
can
talk
get him
about
on there.
Bordella of Blood? I actually have never seen it. Alan tried to get me to watch it. That movie so many times when I got him to watch the show, he like gravitated towards that film. And I'm like, I don't want to watch it. It's garbage. I just, especially since Demon Knight. You have not seen that yet, right?
It's on the docket to watch.
Yeah,
I know.
go watch it.
I know you raved about that.
Oh,
one.
I saw it in the theaters. I was a kid. I saw that in theaters. It was so good. It was such a good movie. Jada Pinkett's in it, and Billy
I'll
Zane,
be damned.
and
Billy
William
Zane.
Sadler. It's a great movie. I think. I mean, I haven't seen it in years, so we'll see if I think it's great or not. I think it's great. I don't even know if it's based on a comic. If it is, that's fucking awesome. But yeah. So yeah, podcast is gonna be monthly. Anyway, okay. If you're watching us on Rumble or YouTube, leave in the comment section down below what your top 5 episodes of this season were. If you're listening to us, you can hit us up on X at Creeps of Crypt to let us know what your favorite episodes were of this season. If you disagree with us, and tell us why. Anyway, that's all for now. You could go get merch at ghostcrusadersmerch.com of Creeps of the Crypt. There's Creeps of the Crypt merch over there. And you can follow Alan at Splinter47 over on X. And yeah, we will see you guys next time in December when we come back
Peace.
with season 4, episode 1.
Peace.
There you go.